My name is Ralph Edward Dorn. I was born in rural Hilbert, Wisconsin, Calumet County, in the United States of America. I first enlisted immediately out of high school into the United States Army Air Corps. I was there about a week at the armament school. It was a Sunday, and one of the fellows was going to, Sunday morning, dressed all up in his civilian clothes. He was going to go down to Denver, to go to church, presumably. But he got to the gate, and the air policeman said, you got to go take those civvies off, and you can send them home because you're not going to need them for a long time. We're at war. The Japanese have just bombed Pearl Harbor. I graduated from armament school in Lowry in March of 1942. We transferred to Columbia, South Carolina, and I went through Kansas City, Missouri. I was eastbound. The Roosevelt administration didn't want you to go over unarmed. So as you were, just before you got going up the gangplank, they handed you a Thompson submachine gun, 50 rounds of ammunition for it, and up the gangplank you went. We got to Karachi on July the 25th, 1942. About November of 42, we took the rail trip by rail across India to Chukulia. Chukulia, India was about 90 miles west of Calcutta, and it was a British base. We were the first people to occupy it. The heat, the adjustment for the climate there was that we would do the siesta thing, sort of. We would work on the airplanes at 6 in the morning until noontime, and then you wouldn't go on duty until the evening or the next day. You'd spend the hot afternoons in the barracks area. We were transferred to China in January of 1944, and we had a terribly rough time up there. We lost like 12 airplanes and I think 38 people, crewmen on them, because of weather and mountainous terrain. It was really a tough time. The fuel was so hard to get to China. It all had to be flown over the hump. The hump was at 18,000 foot mountain range. You had to fly the hump to get from India to China. It was surprising to us, the Chinese culture. It was all Ding Hao. Ding Hao meant, would you sum up with Ding Hao? But on the whole, the Chinese were all Ding Hao. They helped us in every way they could, and they were very friendly and all. We didn't have any ice in China. We got there in January, and I left in September, and you didn't have any refrigeration whatsoever. We ate a good share of our food, was because it had to be flown over the hump. We didn't eat American food, we ate Chinese food, and I think it was often, we would have pot pies or such. I think it was dog meat, of course. we lived on duck eggs too. They were, have a unique flavor. After so many of them, though, they would get tiresome. But the food was unique, different, and from a kid from the upper Midwest, a picky eater from the upper Midwest, it was terrible. I finished my tour in China. The armament officer came looking for his man, and he said to me, "Ralph, get out there and meet those airplanes. We got a flight coming back." And I said, "Sorry about that, sir. I got my duffel bag in one hand and my orders in the other, and I'm going to catch the 4 o'clock courier to Kunming. Goodbye." I got a 30-day leave. It was the first time in 3.5 years that I had seen my family. The circumstances were just such that I enlisted in June 1941, and this was December 1944 when I first got back to see my family. Everything really looked small. Really amazing how everything looked so small. When I first went overseas, we went from Charleston, South Carolina to Freetown, Africa to Cape Town, and then ended up in Karachi. And when we left Bombay, going the other way, we went down around Australia and went to Guadalcanal, and then we went to San Pedro, California. When I was going to Great Lakes, we went through Kansas City again. First, at March 1942, I was eastbound on Kansas City, and on December 1944, I was still going eastbound through Kansas City. So that was, it was not the way to take a world tour on a troop ship. So there.